Thank you very much, Sufa. And Mr. Roshan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much to the MC, Ms. Tan Mei Jun. You're doing an amazing job. Keep it up. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in on a Saturday morning and sacrificing the 2 days where you can rest amidst difficult times. We appreciate it. That being said, I'll start with my screen sharing right away. Can everybody see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Splendid. All right. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Roshan Nigel Miranda. I'm 25 this year. I'll be talking about the Relationship Framework Agreement. I'll go right into it. Just a little bit about myself. Currently, I'm studying my Masters of Public Policy in University Malaya full time, while working as a social entrepreneur at PETRONAS, addressing dyslexia as a whole in Malaysia. On the part-time, I am a political analyst to a foreign university. I was attached to our federal government in various departments in the past. I was attached to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for 6 months under a fellowship called the PETRONAS Fellowship. I was also the former president of the Anti-Corruption Club of my university. So I've got a little bit of experience here and there within the government realm. Moving on. I'm interested in public policy and how we can use it to help people. That's why we are here. That's why the UN with the SDG goals were met. All 17 of them have to be met to help people at the end of the day. Okay, so social pain points, problems currently faced in Malaysia. Every nation, we face social problems. For example, the rise of mental health illnesses, increase in the suicide rates, increase in unemployment amongst Malaysian youths, literacy rate in Malaysia, and many more. What more, the pandemic has caused a drastic increase in the social pain points and problems. These have to be dealt with and faced. The question is how? Are the current implementations used sufficient to deal with these problems? Well, if you were to ask me, not really. The federal government is trying through policies, through our recent national budget, but there are other avenues that we can look into for the near future. After all, we are the youth, we're going to take over, and it's time that we learn. What's the status quo? When we fix a problem, a policy is involved. It is not easy for the federal government to get their boots on the ground, although they have the necessary resources and budgeting. It doesn't matter their political affiliations, it's just the way it is. However, NGOs, on the other hand, they have really stepped up amidst the pandemic, helping with the mental health arena, helping with maybe unemployment, so on and so forth. But they are at their wits' end because they lack resources. Now, I was fortunate enough to be a part of these NGOs and CSOs amidst the pandemic, and we witnessed this firsthand. Nyawa, befrienders. The telephone lines were just through the roof, 24/7. Now, they didn't have the manpower to accommodate. Suicide rates were so high. 1 out of 4 so people were actually committing suicide within the state of Selangor during a certain time of the pandemic since March 2020. So how can we merge these two, the federal government and NGOs and CSOs? Let's keep it short and simple. Federal government has the money, but they don't really have the time. NGOs have the time, they have the expertise, but they don't have the money. How can we merge this moving forward? Because we cannot keep working in silos, especially our generation of the youth. We want to achieve our SDGs. We got to think in the now. The problems are here now. Let's deal with it now. Moving forward, a relationship framework agreement. What is that? Let's just think of it as an agreement between the federal government and multiple legally registered CSOs and NGOs in Malaysia advocating for a certain cause. For example, mental health, unemployment, so on and so forth. So within these separate causes, social pain points and issues, relationship framework agreements can be formed in a sense that the federal government can work together with NGOs and CSOs to deal with social problems and to address pain points and issues. That way, it helps both parties get their boots to the ground. The federal government has the overarching power. The NGOs and the CSOs have their boots to the ground. Potato, let's work together. But a little bit more. The relationship framework agreement is not legally binding. What does it contain? Basically, highlights of the policy journey, the journey to fix a problem. A public policy basically is what the government chooses to do or not to do to fix a problem at hand, right? Well, there should be a policy journey. How are we going to fix it? A step-by-step approach, top to bottom, bottom to top approach, and the specific role that both the federal government and the NGOs and CSOs play. This will be included in the relationship framework agreement. Well, you ask, yes, in theory it works, but in practicality, has it worked? Well, I will tell you, and I'm happy to tell you, that it has worked before in New Zealand. The government, together with a few pertinent NGOs and CSOs, have advocated for this cause, this relationship framework agreement, and it has worked. That's great news. If they can do it, why can't we with our Malaysian spirit of togetherness and a multi-ethnic and multicultural society? My next slide. This is a bit more on the reading. You can actually look this up online or contact me if you want to learn more. Long story short, the New Zealand government, the then Clark government, advocated that they needed more inclusion. Long story short, they actually formalized the document, okay? And it's adopted to this day. So amidst whatever political instability, the document and the policy states for the framework, for the betterment of the people of New Zealand, because they were suffering. But now, not only has it proven to be successful, but they have renewed it. They put in a test subject. So this is really needed. And the meaning behind it in Maori is kia tutahi, which is standing together. It's non-discriminatory because there are many ethnic tribes in New Zealand, Pacific Islanders, so on and so forth. Long story short, you won't be discriminated. Moving forward, this not only has it been proven to be successful, but it's been adopted by other countries have been wanting to adopt it as well. Now, what are the benefits of this? Let's think about it in the long run. We're in the pandemic. We are almost at our wit's end. Our economy is slowly recovering. But with political instability, with the Malacca elections going on, so on and so forth, the people are suffering in one way or another. With unemployment rates, things like fiscal policies are down, our national budget being debated upon. The people are suffering, and the people need to be healed effectively, efficiently, and fast. The relationship framework agreement can do that. NGOs and CSOs need the help. They are open to the help. But the federal government is open to the help. Let's liaise. I was given the opportunity to meet the Deputy Minister of Finance, YB Shah Abdullah, and he was open to this idea. But he was like, Malaysia is not prepared for this yet. This is why I'm bringing the idea here. It's a youth summit. We have to meet our SDG goals, and it's up to us to do it, right? Now, any question and answers about this, I'm open to any and all questions. And the only stupid question is the one that is not asked, is what I believe in. I hope you don't mind. I kept it short, simple, straight to the point. So yeah, if you have any questions, I prefer it if you voice them out, or you can put them in the chat box. Thank you. I'm not done yet. Yeah, thank you.
Dear participants, feel free to type your questions in the chat box. All right, Mr. Roshan, there doesn't seem to be any questions for now. Would you like to continue on with your sharing first?
Sure. Thank you, MC. Yeah, so
Thank
this is
you.
the relationship framework agreement. I've actually come up with a few policy papers myself. And just to let you know, YB Shah Abdullah has actually taken it into the national budget because we had an engagement session with him with regards to mental health. And he has actually included a bigger budget towards NGOs and CSOs in Malaysia advocating for mental health. And I think that's great. It's a step forward. Here we are talking, but work is done. Yes, we're having this conference, but realize the significance of it when people are benefiting. Awareness is important. Ideology never dies. Remember that. The little that you do helps people for tomorrow. In conclusion, do keep in touch with me. This you can take a screenshot of this. These are my personal details on if you want to find out more, if you want to talk more about this, so on and so forth. I am always open and I love to learn and to share regarding this relationship framework agreement. Policies are the way to go for me. Let's sit down, let's get to business, let's help the people, let's aid the government, let's show them how it can be done. With that being said, let me close by saying an old quote by Franklin D. Roosevelt. We cannot build the future for our youths, but we can build the youths for our future. I'm 25. I realized that I lacked a lot of confidence when I was younger in approaching from a policy aspect, but it's never too late, right? We can do it. If not now, then when? Have confidence in yourself. You can do it. Be confident in your work. Research, work hard, and you can do the best. Thank you all for today. I really appreciate it. And I apologize if I have offended anyone, so on and so forth. Thank you. Good day. Good evening. Bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roshan, for your advice. And there's actually one question in the chat box. Would you like to take that?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Mr. Hidayat Fahmi, thank you. On the RFA, I believe the Canadian government is actually working on a relationship framework agreement together with the UK government. However, it's still in its implementation phases. It is not permanent as compared to New Zealand yet. It's quite in its preliminary phases, but it has shown quite an impeccable success rate thus far.